of the people that come see you are, and listen to your music, it's a crowd that likes heavy music, generally socially aware, not necessarily message-oriented or anything like that, but that has insight into the songs as well as into the lyrics, and that does stay out of the mainstream. That seems to be really important, that, you know, maybe you make it on college radio or stuff like that, but that you don't have like a top 40 hit on, you know, an AOR station or anything like that. Is that how you see yourselves as well?
I don't know if it's actually a conscious effort. I just think that there's just a place where we come from and what we understand as being art and something that has substance to us that doesn't fit into that scheme. So I don't think that that'll ever be a problem for us, or it's not even a consideration, you know, trying to stay away from it. It just won't happen because it's just not what we're at. It's not what we are.
I mean, it could, but if it did, it would be more by accident. And we play the music that we feel like playing, you know, and that's pretty much where we stand. That's why we do it.
Are you serious about any issues as a band? Is there anything that's...
Yeah, there's a lot of political issues that we're serious about.
We all have our separate views about that, you know.
Personal politics, which in turn makes social politics, you know.
What about censorship? That's the one video that we've played.
We believe in that.
Well, we've given up.
Everything should be censored.
As you can see here, I've been censored.
We got our anti-censorship video censored, so.
So give it up.
You
can't win.
On much music.
Huh?
We played it all the time.
See, people are free in
Yeah,
Canada,
but were we naked, or
in
did we have
America,
parental guidance stickers over our items?
We thought it was very
Okay.
smart. We thought that was very cute, very funny.
They fell for it? All right.
Does it come from direct experiences, or is it just anger about life in general?
I think it's a combination. I think it's a combination of things. Sometimes I think in people's growing experiences, they tend to catch light of something that maybe the people around them didn't get to understand. And in some cases, I think that kind of understanding, rather than it helping a person, ends up hindering them in the face of everyday realities and procedures and stuff. Just ends up being a burden, you know, like the kid growing up too fast. Just ends up kind of messing them up a little bit. I'm not saying that they shouldn't have those experiences. I just think that it should be dealt with better. I don't know.
Videos, in some ways, really grotesque, and which I guess is one thing, which is what you probably want, a little bit of that reaction.
I'm not really sure if it's a matter of reaction, really. I think that they're just images that we've come to be comfortable with. You know, the balances of images. I think a lot of people who have been sheltered all their lives and ignored realities tend to not really understand the ugly sides of nature as being necessary and present. And I think it's unfortunate. I think they're essential elements to growth.
Sort of said about your penchant for real horrific images, and yet you're these really nice, normal guys who love pets. But why do you have such a penchant for horrific album covers, you know, dark, bizarre videos?
I think most of us grew up in a pretty sterile environment. A lot of that stuff just wasn't around. It's all pretty much peaches and cream, you know, flowers. Everything's nice, ignore all the bad stuff. And it's just, the world's just not like that. And I think that the sooner people get to the point where they realize that the ugly stuff is just as important as the beautiful stuff, it goes hand in hand, I think that we can get on with evolving.
Do you find beauty in horrific images?
Yeah, definitely.
How so?
It's just there, you know. It's a part of reality. It's a part of life. Birth, death, light, dark. It's just there.
What about your new video, Prison Sex? That one has some pretty dark imagery. I believe it's all metaphoric for child abuse.
Sexual child abuse.
Sexual child abuse. Why did you guys write that song? Why did you make a video about it?
Well, generally we write you know, music, the music comes first, and then the ideas come afterwards. And the reason ideas come afterwards is because the music ends up kind of tapping into something way down deep inside that hasn't been addressed yet or needs to be addressed. And that song was written out of need. So thus the video.
I think there may be some question about prison sex because some of the images are disturbing, even though it's an animated video. What would you say to people who may question it?
They have some soul searching to do.
Do you think?
If it's, some people have found it really disturbing, and I've had a few friends that have found out that there have been some memories that they've repressed, that they didn't remember for a long time. And there's some issues that they needed to address before they come out the wrong way. I think sometimes people repress those childhood memories to the point where they come out later in really ugly ways. They pretty much dictate a lot of people's behavior, the way they deal with people on an everyday basis, their job situations, you know, everything. It just dictates their actions. And unless they can get a handle on what those memories were and work around them and work with them, I don't think that they can really lead normal, functioning lives.
Do you think it's a video suitable for a music channel, that kids should be watching it?
You know, there's a lot of videos on there that I think are far more offensive.
Like what do you find offensive, for example?
The Robert Palmer girls, you know, I think that's out of control. You know, a lot of the gangster rap videos, although they're saying a lot, they still are treating women like, you know, dog meat, and I think that's way more disturbing than our video.
In your videos?
The same kind of thing as the words. It ends up, people start latching on to the personalities involved rather than listening to the music and the artwork that's being presented, you know? I mean, like the Mona Lisa, you look at the Mona Lisa and you absorb the Mona Lisa. You don't really worry about where the artist is living and, you know, what he looks like and how he drinks his coffee, and who cares, you know, how he cuts his hair. It's not important. What's important is the image that he's produced.
You don't want to develop a cult of personality at all?
No, it's not really necessary.
How important is art to this band? It seems like you bring it up constantly.
It's important. It's everything. Generally.
Yeah, well, if not, we wouldn't be hanging out together, probably.
And what is that?
Live wrong and perspire.
What he said.
Shaka Bree Walker.
Shaka Bree Walker. Live wrong and perspire.
How's it been playing side stage for you? You put a lot of focus on side stage right now because there's a buzz on tour. So has it been something you have to take in stride?
Yeah, pretty much.
Are you looking forward to going to main stage?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you get to play for like 10,000 more people a day, so it's going to be a big step for us. We've never played for any crowds near that size, you know. Even these crowds we've had on the second stage are the biggest we've ever played for, so it's been great.
I think it's a lot more about the political stuff and just educating people about, you know, marijuana.
We've ever played for, so it's been great.
Secondary. Here, I think it's a lot more about the political stuff and just educating people about, you know, marijuana, gay rights, pro-life, pro-choice, all the issues of the day. There's just a million people out there with their views and their points of view and information, and I think it's kind of good.
Who is this?
New music.
New music. Oh.
Kind of like much music, only.
Kind of like much music, but it's
only
newer.
The same. but updated.
Updated.
You got these cool plastic things.
Yeah, man, I like this plastic. You know, plastic is the way of the future.
I think we can get in. We want a piece of your world. What are you all about? I want your soul. I want you.
Dirty.
Something in now, drive by. Don't you say how high. Just think of something in now, drive by. Don't you say how high. Come on.
Well, we've got nothing to lose going on first. It's everybody who buys a t-shirt is getting ripped off by a huge something.
Is this your kind of gig?
Well, any gigs are kind of gig pretty much.
But sharing a stage with other bands?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you always play with other bands no matter what, whether you're open.
The place shorter.
Yeah.
We were just wondering, what are you?
The official gopher, BBC in charge, ego-tripping, power-hungry, half-crazed, moron. There you have it.
We don't doubt this. No one is gayer than I am, but some come dangerously close.
He was in the Army, you know. He used to be in the Army anyhow. He ended up as a rocker, which I think was probably a better career choice. And he dropped by a while back, and we chatted, so here it is. Cool. On the Power 30.
This is a song. No, really.
Welcome to the Power 30, Maynard. It's nice to have you up here finally.
Not in a tree.
I'm sorry?
Not in a tree.
Not in a tree, that's right. Last time we spoke, it was up a tree. And, which, by the way, let's just get this out of the way. Maynard, you brought me a present. It was so sweet of you. Maynard's not feeling too well today. He's got a bad sore throat. But he still remembers to bring me...
These are the jeans that Teresa had to wear to get into the tree in my backyard.
Because that day I was wearing this lovely little summer dress. So, Maynard's jeans fit me perfectly. Thanks. And, I'll treasure these forever. Maybe you can find them before you leave. Okay?
I kind of did, but...
I'm not going to test that one. One thing that's interesting is that you don't put the lyrics in your album.
If the words were so important, you know, and the music wasn't, then people would be doing sold-out spoken word tours, you know, and music would be secondary. But they're not. People are going because the music is what carries all the emotion. The words just kind of define a little bit where the emotion's going. And in some cases, when you get a record and it deals with subject matter like we deal with, people go straight to the lyrics and they ignore the music. And then that puts more of a focus on me, and I'm only 1/4 of this project, you know, even if that, you know, I might be even less. Ends up kind of tapping into something way down deep inside that hasn't been addressed yet or needs to be addressed. And that song was written out of need. So that's the video.
Has anybody in the band experienced that personally? That wants to talk about it?
That wants to talk about it?
Yeah.
What's the next question?
I think there may be some question about prison sex because some of the images are disturbing, even though it's an animated video. What would you say to people who may question it?
They have some soul searching to do.
Do you think?
Some people have found it really disturbing, and I've had a few friends that have found out that there have been some memories that they've repressed that they didn't remember for a long time. And there's some issues that they needed to address before they come out the wrong way. I think sometimes people repress those childhood memories to the point where they come out later in really ugly ways. They pretty much
dictate a lot of people's behavior, the way they deal with people on an everyday basis, their job situations, you know, everything. It just dictates their actions. And unless they can get a handle on what those memories were and work around them and work with them, I don't think that they can really lead normal, functioning lives.
Too much baggage along with them.
This video might, it might scare the hell out of some people. It might not. If it does, then that's good, you know. It's going to open up some controversy, and it's good to reevaluate things.
Do you think it's a video suitable for a music channel, that kids should be watching it?
You know, there's a lot of videos on there that I think are far more offensive.
Like what do you find offensive, for example?
The Robert Palmer girls. You know, I think that's out of control. You know, a lot of the gangster rap videos, although they're saying a lot, they still are treating women like, you know, dog meat, and I think that's way more disturbing than a video.
The Joy Night, we're going to start things off fast and loud, touring on the strength of their album Undertow. LA's Tool played their only Canadian date in Toronto last night. By all accounts, it was an intense and amazing show. New Music's Jennifer Morton caught up with Tool frontman James Maynard Keenan before the show.
On the road for a long time now. Do you, like, is this sort of what it feels like some nights on the stage? You know, caged, in
Sure.
a cage, on display, for sale?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Water's a little cleaner, but other than that, not much different.
What drives you crazy? What really,
I don't mind people that fall into the system so much if they've taken a minute to step back and understand what the system's doing and how it operates, you know? If you're going to be a businessman and operate within the confines of the business world, I can accept that a lot easier than the person who hasn't even began to look at that yet and just swallows it for what it is and wakes up when they're 35 and goes, whoa, wait a minute, what happened? What did I do? You know, the midlife crisis. You know, I can't swallow that. That bums me out.
energy left? Like, are you still got the drive happening to make this music that you make? And
yeah, for now. If I don't, then we'll go our separate ways. You know, we all have individual things that we have in mind that we want to do. We're definitely going to pursue those things. I don't think it's going to end up being always going to be Tool. I think it'll be Adam, Paul, Maynard, and Danny doing what they do.
Undertow, LA's Tool, played their only Canadian date in Toronto last night. By all accounts, it was an intense and amazing show. New Music's Jennifer Morton caught up with Tool frontman James Maynard Keenan before the show.
You've been on the road for a long time now. What drives you crazy? What really?
I don't mind people that fall into the system so much.
Do you have energy left? Like, are you still got the drive happening to make this music that you make? And
Yeah, for now. If I don't, then we'll go our separate ways, you know. We all have individual things that we have in mind that we want to do. We're definitely going to pursue those things. I don't think it's going to end up being always going to be Tool. I think it'll be Adam, Paul, Maynard, and Danny doing what they do. People misconstrue us as being a very dark, negative, hateful, violent band in a similar.
Calls me up to interview him.
So he sent you an email?
He did. It was pretty strange, actually.
That's weird. I guess, I mean, Tool videos haven't got a ton of play around much music. Only one has been deemed unsuitable for air, but the others, I think Tool fans in Maynard feel that they haven't got as much play as the sales and popularity of the band would have merited. So
Right.
maybe that's why he wanted you. He picked you.
He chose me. He hunted me down. We played email tag. And originally he agreed to be interviewed on the condition that we only talk about censorship.
Wow.
But in the end, we chatted about all kinds of different things.
You can use music as a catalyst to do some searching, to do some soul searching, to do some growing, and that's the kind of band that we are. That's the kind of music that we perpetuate. Is more of a soul searching music, something that's going to make you get involved and really do some work. It's not about medicating you and having you click out. People that just assume that we're hateful don't understand that hate and anger are two completely separate energies. They might have a similar emotional charge to them, but anger is such a much more constructive emotion than hate, and that's what we're more about, is the anger. Not all our music, I'm just saying that particular element that people see in it.
Do you see there being feminine energy in what you're putting out?
Well, there can only be as much feminine energy as I can find in myself. And having been raised a male and in a male society, I think I'm a long, long way from being empathetic to feminine points of view. I can be sympathetic. I can try to assimilate it and try to walk in your shoes, but I'll never know, you know? I don't have my moon every month. I'm not that connected to the earth, so.
But you seem to have a lot of feminine energy as a person.
Well, it's something that I'm working toward, working for balance.
How do you?
I find it in the music because there's a lot of points of view in the music that tend to be very intuitive and very emotional and very compassionate, and in some cases irrational. And I think that's an important movement.
Do you think that irrationality is a feminine quality?
It's a very emotional quality. It's a quality of the will. And the will has been so pushed out of balance for so long by spirit and the mentalized, more analytical points of view that it's going to explode. You know, it's all this bottled up stuff that's been repressed. The things that we've kind of talked about is believe in nothing. But in believing in nothing, what we're saying is consider everything. Because the sooner you knock down your belief systems, and the sooner you start to consider other things, the quicker you can start to grow. Those things that you can't look at, those things that you go, I can't go there, or I can't hear those words, those are exactly where you should go. Because the sooner that you release that magnetic charge or that emotional charge that you have on those things, the sooner you're going to move that energy and it's going to stop being denied. Because energy is energy. If you deny those negative energies, they don't just go away.
It's going to come out somehow.
They're going to come bite you in the ass somehow.
This song is about choosing compassion over fear, grabbing life by the throat.
There's a guy who was a friend of Danny's in a band in Kansas, and he had recently passed away. And he was the kind of guy who really, he embraced life, pretty much. He just reached down in the muck and just grabbed it by the throat and really, you know, embraced life and took it to the fullest extent he could and wasn't afraid. He really wasn't afraid at all. Very, very powerful, very inspiring individual. And of course, there's that balance between really going for it and then that fear of going too far or going so far that you need even more to stimulate you. The kind of Mother Earth figure who's kind of tossing around the abomination in the box. Because eventually she's going to rear her ugly head and set things straight for sure, I would think. Because, you know, if you're one of those people that subscribe to the idea that the Earth has a consciousness, it's not just this chunk of rock, that it is a living, breathing organism that goes through changes. You got to figure that it's going to do what it has to do to survive, and it will get rid of the virus known as man, which to many people in many walks of life, it would probably be a welcome change, because certainly the film industry and the music industry is a very misogynistic industry, so I'm sure a lot of women wouldn't mind starting over and getting rid of the Barbie doll.
Amen.
For those of you under the age of 25, we wrote that.
The point where the four suggested it was men. I'm wondering what you call it.
Sword fight in the mouth of humanity.
A great big one.
Has it been any less of a sword fight then?
Any less of a what?
Sword fight, as you said before?
Sword fights can be fun.
Sometimes, yeah.
What are you talking about? Friction can be fun if you have the right lubricant. Easier to point a finger and recognize weaknesses and faults and shortcomings in others. It's much more difficult to acknowledge that usually those shortcomings and whatnot are a reflection of what you see in you that you don't like about yourself. So having four very dynamic characters in a room pointing fingers at each other, the hard part and the growing part is to then immediately remember that all these people are just reflections of yourself, and then you grow as a group.
I wore flares. I was in.
Actually concede to the others in the group.
About five
Depends.
scotches.
Yeah.
5 scotches in.
6-pack, 5 scotches.
If we want a decision made in our favor, we said, Dan, check out this scotch. Amazing. Smell.
Ravers and hippies, could they be very similar? We'll find out. We'll begin with the band Tool, though. 5 years since we got the last record from them, and for Tool fans, 5 years is a long time to be away. Now, Maynard did whet our appetite with the Perfect Circle record, but Tool have gotten something out. It's called Lateralus, and it's selling like mad. Larissa Delka had a chance to catch up with Maynard and Danny in Detroit.
We're underwater. This is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. Good vibe to it.
Like a rebirthing process you're putting us through here?
Sure. Your mental, your emotional, and your physical body are inseparable if you want to evolve. You have to embrace all three elements and help them all grow, nurture all three. And if you don't, you eliminate the emotional because it's the most irrational, unpredictable part. If you eliminate the emotional, your evolution comes to a screeching halt, and you just become a lawyer.
Concept of the Saturn return, which is basically when you're born, Saturn is in a particular position, and it takes approximately 28, 29 years to come full circle all the way around the sun back to the position. So, speaking metaphysically or astrologically, that represents a time in your life where you can reevaluate where you are. You start an art class at a really good art school or something, the first thing that your drawing instructor is going to say, or your perspective instructor is going to say, is you need to forget everything that anybody's ever told you about this stuff. We're going to start over. Just completely drop all your preconceptions about what's going to happen in this room, and then you'll learn. The sooner you let go of your crap that you're holding on to, the sooner you can listen.
Maynard's gone off and done a Perfect Circle stuff. Has your relationship, or do you see a change in the way that you come to the table now with him?
Well, I don't know. I mean, along with Maynard doing his Perfect Circle thing, we had a lot of other business things going on at the same time that were kind of a drag, and we had to grow a lot as individuals and grow together, keep our relationship strong just to survive, and keep our community together, tight within ourselves. So it's kind of hard to separate like that event from all the other things that were going on at the same time. But we still felt like a band through the whole thing.
Was there any sense of like possessiveness on the part of the boys from Tool when you were going out there, like a worry that you weren't going to come back?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They, you know, they won't admit it, but yeah, definitely. There was a paranoia, but and justifiably so, because you know we're all satellites. We're all just kind of doing our own thing, and you've heard it a million times. I mean, especially like just in light of our peers. Who the hell's left? Really? Soundgarden broke up. Nine Inch Nails record didn't do that well.
Smashing Pumpkins gone.
Smashing Pumpkins gone. Rage. Whoopsie.
Where you guys meet, there is friction, to the point where the four of you meet. And I'm just wondering, Adam had suggested it was magical. You call it friction. I'm wondering what you call it.
Sword fight in the mouth of humanity.
A great big one.
Has it been any less of a sword fight then?
Any less of a what?
Sword fight, as you said before?
Sword fights can be fun.
Sometimes, yeah.
What are you talking about? Friction can be fun if you have the right lubricant. It's easier to point a finger and recognize weaknesses and faults and shortcomings in others. It's much more difficult to acknowledge that usually those shortcomings and whatnot are a reflection of what you see in you that you don't like about yourself. So having four very dynamic characters in a room pointing fingers at each other, the hard part and the growing part is to then immediately remember that all these people are just reflections of yourself, and then you grow as a group.